Yes.
We have with us, everyone, welcome to the Career Path Development webinar series. We are so delighted to host our first ever friend and colleague, Lyzyl Banuag, Lyzyl Lopez-Banuag, and she is here with us from the University of the Philippines Normal University. She is the head of teaching and learning there. And we're just thrilled to have our first ever speaker from the Philippines. And Lyzyl has some wonderful ideas for us at any time in our career path. We can use these ideas about flexible teaching and learning. It's a wonderful topic about embracing the better normal in education. It's a wonderful idea. We thought when she made her application, we knew that our colleagues around the world would be enjoying hearing about this notion of the new normal, the better normal, and being flexible in our teaching and learning. And I am so happy, Lyzyl, to welcome you today. Our next session will be on May 20th. It's going to be a group from the Texas International Education Consortium. It's called Working Effectively Across Career Levels. So we're going to be looking at low-level workers, mid-level workers, and high-level workers communicating. It'll be a great session. Today, though, we have a wonderful presentation by Lyzyl Lopez-Banuag. Welcome, Lyzyl. Thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure. Okay, yes, great day to all the academicians, researchers, and other school stakeholders around the world who might be watching this webinar by TESOL International Association and TESOL Career Path Development. I am Lyzyl Lopez-Banuag. I am affiliated with the Philippine Normal University in Mindanao here in the Philippines. This is my school. It is one of the campuses of Philippine Normal University, a state-run system under the Commission on Higher Education. And it offers teacher education courses. Actually, Philippine Normal University is the national center for teacher education here in the Philippines. And on the right side is the map of my country. It's an archipelago in Southeast Asia. And yes, I'm excited to share with you the topic on flexible teaching and learning, embracing the better normal. Now, most of the topics are products of my trainings in the massive open distance e-learning education, okay, which I took from the University of the Philippines Open University. And also I will be presenting or sharing with you our actual experiences and practices from PNU in Mindanao. So the objectives of my discussion for this day would be first to revisit modes of instructional learning delivery, then identify and discuss flexible learning dimensions, and reflect how flexible teaching and learning is learned, planned, and applied in classroom settings. Okay, so we have this question, why flexible learning? Okay. UNESCO estimates that over 1.5 billion students in 165 countries are out of school due to COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has forced the global academic community to explore new ways of teaching and learning, including distance and online education. And this has proven challenging for both students and educators who must deal with the emotional, physical, and economic difficulties posed by the illness while doing their part to help curb the spread of the virus. Okay, so this is the flexible learning model. As I've said, I got this model from the training I had in UPOU. So as you can see there, you have face-to-face, and then eventually it accelerates with technology integration to blended learning, which is a combination of face-to-face, online, or modular approach, then to distance distance education, which could be offline, purely online, or could be a combination, no, a blended of online and offline deliveries. And then the highest is ODEL, or the online distance e-learning delivery. Okay, so flexibility is offering choices in the educational environment, as well as customizing a given course to meet the needs of individuals and learners. And it considers the possibility of making learning choices to learners as crucial. And the learning choices can cover class times, course content, instructional approach, learning resources, and location, technology use, and the requirements for entry or completion of dates, and communication medium, and many others, to make things flexible, to make things adaptable for both teachers and learners. Okay, so these are other learning delivery modes. I believe these are also practiced now around the world, but in the Philippines, these are the current learning delivery modes. So of course, we had the face-to-face learning. It's the traditional learning environment where the students and the teachers are both physically present in the classroom, okay? And it has opportunities for active engagement, immediate feedback, and social emotional development of learners, because teachers could give feedback right away. Another is homeschooling. Although this may be familiar to some countries in the world, but in the Philippines, this is still not that it's not that trendy. Okay? Only very few learners actually are homeschooled. Okay, homeschooling provides learners with equal access to quality basic education at home, to be facilitated by qualified parents and guardians or tutors who have undergone relevant trainings. So the features here is that families can educate according to their personal faith, philosophy, and values. The learning schedules may adjust to fit the family's schedules and circumstances. Then another learning delivery mode, which is adopted in my school, the Center for Teaching and Learning, is blended learning. That allows for a combination of face-to-face, online, and modular learning delivery. Now, in our learning continuity plan, we had a projected limited face-to-face sometime in January of 2021. But because the risk of severity rating of COVID in our locality or in our region as a whole is still increasing. So up until now, we don't have face-to-face. So there are features. It limits face-to-face learning delivery, affords social distancing, decreases the volume of people outside the home at any given time. It's still increasing. Then, so up until now. Yes, and then distance learning, it is most viable for independent learners and learners supported by periodic supervision of parents and guardians. It could be delivered through online platforms, educational programs like TV and radio, and printed modules. And most authors would say, or some of the authors would say, that distance learning is actually the bigger umbrella of all the other kinds of distance education, such as blended learning, okay? But then other authors would also argue that distance learning is different from the others. Okay, in the Philippines right now, learning delivery modalities are as follows. We have DepEd. It's the Department of Education. It is the agency that handles matters on basic education from preschool to senior high school. Okay, so as of now, here in the Philippines, modalities would include self-learning modules. Okay, teachers print the modules and then distribute them to the learners. They also have radio-based instructions. Okay, and they also have TV programs on this. Okay, so what are the dimensions of flexible learning? Okay, so there are 5 dimensions. First, when and where learning occurs, how instructional content is delivered. How and where students can access learning materials in campus-based learning, like web-based learning, or in both via different technologies such as, I'm sorry, augmented reality. Okay, so you can for a while. I have a learner here since this is work from home. Yes. Yes, I will buy that. Okay, go outside. Okay, I'm sorry. This is live, and you know, when people are work from home. Actually, I am in the office right now, but I'm bringing my children with me. Okay, so where am I? Yeah, so there are learning activities, events, and processes that you have to facilitate still, and then you can figure out how to plan them. Okay, for example, when the learning occurs, so you can what? Actually plan. Yes, excuse me, I'm talking.
Mama.
Yes.
Mama.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Kuya. Okay, so when the learning occurs, so you can probably decide now on the planning phase now whether you would do it on weekends or twice a week. Okay, so here in the Center for Teaching and Learning, we actually have our online classes or synchronous classes once every 2 weeks. Okay, also in our tertiary level, we had it once every 2 weeks. But for our graduate students, we had it once every week or during weekends. And then you could ask where the learning occurs. So of course, it's purely online for our tertiary and graduate students. But for our elementary pupils, they had it, they had their modules, so they work on it. And then it's also submitted once every 2 weeks. And then we have online synchronous classes using Google Meet. Yes, Google Meet every 2 weeks. Then instructions will be delivered. You have to ask yourself what platform you are going to use. Okay, nowadays, in the first quarter, for example, in the Center for Teaching and Learning, we had Facebook as our learning management system, because back then everything was really new to teachers, to parents, and to pupils. So we had Facebook, and then eventually in the second quarter, yeah, we actually had Google Classroom. And then initially also we had Zoom meetings in the first quarter, but because Zoom has limited number of time and for its free account, and then we shifted to Google Meet on the second quarter up until now. Okay, then what are the strategies for organizing learning activities? Yes, as I've said, since online activities, are the only things we can ask from our students. Okay, we also decided on the strategies. We actually meet. Okay, we actually meet with the faculty to decide now on the grading system for us to come up with the activities that we should require of the pupils. Okay, so we have here, you can use motivation techniques for students to learn via distance education. So what we ask of them are the performance-based activities. They submit it in the Google Classroom. But since internet connectivity is really a problem here in the yes, here in the Philippines, so some cannot even upload it in the Google Classroom, and we just accept them in our messenger in Facebook. That's how we make things flexible. Okay, there is really a big problem of the internet connectivity here. So it's quite struggling. We are struggling at first, but now, as I've said, we are embracing the new normal. And then I receive fewer and fewer concerns now regarding the submissions of the performance-based activities. And then you can also have share study habits to students, such as how to pre-plan their homework. So constant reminders from their subject teachers every time they have online classes. Okay, and then yeah, so several instructional approaches such as lectures with tutorials, independent study, discussion, seminar groups, and debates could also be included here. Okay, then the next dimension is the types of learning resources to be provided to the students. Okay, so you can think about the digital learning management system, like what I've said. We had Facebook in the first quarter, and then we transitioned to the Google Classroom. Our college students before, we already practiced actually flexible teaching and learning. Even before COVID, we had Edmodo as our platform. And then right now, the PNU system also have their ePNU learning management system. Yes, excuse me, please. Okay, and then what types of learning resources? You could also include video clips, okay? You could also have blogs, okay, video blogs, and then you can have collaboration platforms that support video communication, yes, such as Zoom. But again, we are actually using Google Meet account, okay, because it's free and it's limitless. Okay. And then we have here the technologies used for learning and teaching. Okay, so the technologies used help learners generate content and interact with peers such as blogs, wikis, and social networks, of course, Facebook. And technology-based communication mediums such as emails, instant messages, applications, or short messages. Okay, so in our school, of course, we use computers and smartphones and other handheld devices. Although we have very few students, now particularly in the tertiary level, who didn't have their gadgets. So what the university did was to launch programs to solicit, okay, to as a donation drive for these students. Okay, then the last dimension is one and how to provide assessment and evaluation. Okay, as I've said, this is one of the most challenging thing in distance learning nowadays. Okay, so written assignments such as short essays, research papers, case study responses could be submitted electronically. Okay, we could also have students could, be assigned to small groups to provide peer feedback. Okay, methods of assessments, presentations, no, team projects, and standardized tests, including multiple choice tests, no, can be done. E-portfolio also is one method that can offer more flexibility for students to update the evidence of their development and achievement. And then timing and delivery channel of assessment, computer-based, okay, human managed assessment, paper-based. So usually for my higher education students, what I did when I have exams with them is that I have them timed. You know, there would be a time limit for them. For example, for a final exam, they would be given 4 hours to take it, and finished or not, they have to hasten to have a better score. Okay, and it also diminishes the chance of cheating, no, and plagiarism online. Then learning analytics approaches, which will collect the students' learning traces within the learning system to provide real-time assessments as reports or dashboards. Okay, so here, so asynchronous online discussion should be made possible with discussion board or forums, such as discussion, such discussion can be initiated with a set of questions from the instructor or concept, the use also of concept maps, for brainstorming and mind mapping. Yes. Okay, so here, welcome to the new normal. This is our school. Okay, there's a glimpse of the buildings that we have. And then the new school, making a better normal happen in education. So these are our experiences in the university. So again, for basic education, we have blended learning, we use online, we use synchronous, and we have self-learning modules, which are MELC-based. Okay, when you say MELC-based, the Department of Education here in the Philippines, now with the advent of COVID-19, issued the most essential learning competencies for basic education. So since we are a laboratory school here in the Center for Teaching and Learning, we encouraged, or no, we obliged, the word is oblige. We oblige our faculty to make self-learning modules. Okay, that's why this year is more challenging. Okay, so before, in the pre-COVID times, the students or the pupils are actually buying books. Okay, but this time it's the faculty who are making these books, and then we entrust the parents for the printing. Okay, so the parents print the modules, and then we, as of now, since it's the initial implementation of the modules, so we could just give staggered, no, staggered copies of the modules every quarter. So I'm hoping for a much better normal in the next school year. Okay, so for our practice teaching in the basic education, this is one of the challenges we have experienced also. We have here the self-learning, sorry, we have here our practice teachers for the basic early childhood education program. Okay, they are on their third year, and then they are currently having their on-campus internship. Okay, and then of course everything is done online, and we expose them to our synchronous classes, and then they also had the self-learning modules as the basis of their lesson plans. So everything was really raw at first. Like me as the head of the CTL was really thinking how to go about the internship program, particularly that the main campus in Manila also requested to deploy some of their Bachelor in Social Science Education students for their off-campus teaching. And then it's a good thing that they also, yes, darling, it's a good thing that they also helped us in trying to have resources for our practice teaching. Okay, say hi. Say hi. Okay, now we have here for the graduate school. Yes, everything is done online in the graduate school. As I've said, it's synchronous and asynchronous activities. Okay, and then yes, it's done every weekend. Yes, darling. And then for the reflection questions, I will. Okay, she wants actually to let me buy all of this Frozen and Disney Princess products. So we are now advertising.
Oh boy.
Thank you. Okay, so how flexible is your learning delivery in this time of COVID-19 pandemic? Okay, so you have to ask that, okay, to yourself, particularly for us, not teachers who are actually experiencing all of this learning delivery modalities for the first time. Okay, so since the university adheres to pure online teaching and learning, for example, this is an example for the graduate program, I plan to have synchronous and asynchronous delivery. Okay, but for the tertiary education, well, we had still synchronous and asynchronous activities. They also had their modules, now teacher made modules. And then for the basic education, for the elementary, we had blended learning. So the students actually finish their modules, and then it's submitted by their parents to the school once every 2 weeks. So we're trying to make things flexible, okay? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Caraga region, there are only 2 elementary schools as far as I've learned. having blended learning. The rest, they have modular approach. Okay, then for the second reflection question, if you plan to do synchronous online sessions, what is the purpose of doing it? And what learning activities would constitute your synchronous online session? So here, for me, what is the purpose of doing it is that it could be, of course, to ensure attendance now in class participation. Activities would include brainstorming and sharing responses or reactions on relevant topics. Okay, but these issues actually vary depending on the level of education, level of learners that you are teaching. So it's up to you. For us, or for me, I always flexible now when dealing with strategies and approaches when my learners are elementary, or when my learners are practice teachers, or in the graduate studies. So
Lysyl,
just
I'm
have
going
to
to
be
stop you just a
flexible in
moment. I'm
that.
sorry to interrupt, but there was a very good question in the chat, and I wondered if you
Yes.
would be willing to answer one question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So the question says, what, she said, Lynn, if you're there, you can ask the question yourself. She's interested in teachers. Lynn?
Yes, I'm interested in hearing about how teachers at different points in their careers have adjusted. So you're asking these great questions here. You're saying, how flexible is your learning delivery? Did the answer to these questions differ according to where a teacher was in terms of their career? So where
Yes.
in my context, the younger teachers were super flexible.
Like now, we could see that the pre-service teachers, okay, who are actually practicing in the university, really need information, really need new strategies, because the online strategies were not maybe it was taught to them, but then it was not really emphasized because no one saw COVID-19 coming, and no one saw the need for flexible teaching and learning. So what we actually did, which I was about to share later, was to conduct webinars. It's okay. Conduct webinars or orientation to these practice teachers. Now, we conducted 2 days, 2 webinars for them, and then we let them observe classes. Now, for the teachers, I love that question. For the teachers who are actually in their tenure stage, those who are about to retire 5 years from now, this new normal or better normal was very challenging for the past few months. As I've said, we asked them to craft modules, self-learning modules, and the faculty are not used to this. Okay, in the pre-COVID times, it was optional if you would make your own material or not. Now, in the Center for Teaching and Learning, we just ask the parents to buy books. Okay, so that's a challenge. Plus technology. Okay, the use of technology was very challenging for those who are already seasoned faculty. Even me, at 35 years old, I found using Zoom and Google Meet and Google Classroom very strange, no, for the first 1 or 2 months. Okay, so maybe it's not hard if you came from a school, like for example, I had a talk with faculty of administrators of international schools here in the Philippines. They did not had too much adjustment because prior to COVID, they had it already in their curriculum to use technology or to integrate technology. So yes, the challenge of the flexible teaching and learning in this new normal varies greatly depending on what point you are in your career. Thank you. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm
Okay.
sorry to interrupt, but I felt like it was important to get that out there first.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and that's really what we are all about in TESOL Career Path Development, is what you're saying, that the young teachers here at least are more flexible. The older
Yes.
teachers are less flexible. And
Yeah,
so,
that's true. I'm sorry. Uh, so 2 weeks ago, I observed the practice teachers because I've said we conducted webinars for them, 2-day webinar, and then we let them observe classes. And I was surprised because when it was already their turn to have their first practice teaching, they were pros. They were very creative. Their instructional materials were actually creative. And then I could really say that I think it's the younger teachers who could adapt faster and better to the new normal that we have now because they are trained. They are digital learners. They
yeah,
are digital natives. So I think it's not hard for them to adjust.
thank you for taking our question, Lyzyl. Thank you.
It's
Please,
okay.
please go on.
Okay. Okay. So the next reflection question maybe that you could ask is in the mode of teaching and learning that was selected for your course or in your university or in your school, what possible issues and challenges will you face and how did you plan to address these challenges? So as I've said, there were many challenges from the perceptions of the administration, from the perceptions of the teachers, parents, and the learners. And of course, these things were not easy. Okay, we had to have a hit and miss um, or an experiment quarter, like what I've said in the first quarter. For example, in the CTL, we had Facebook and Zoom as our social media platforms. But then we encountered difficulties and issues and concerns. So we changed to Google Meet and Google Classroom. And for now, still, it's not perfect. There are still issues, there are still concerns, but at least it's sustainable. 2 months from now, the school year will be over. And I'm just happy that somehow education continued. And for the tertiary level, we are already in our third term. And again, 2 months from now, school year 2020-2021, which is a hit and miss school year, will finally come to an end. And yes, so embracing a new or better normal for the for Center for Teaching and Learning and for other schools maybe. 2020 is like a loading year, loading year because people don't know how to react, how to adjust, how to change, how to implement things. Okay. But then as the months go by, we adapted. We adapted to these changes. And that is why there is a new normal, but we are embracing it to become our better normal. So just like this pupil, she's in grade 2, she's Chilean. She cheerfully showcases her outputs in Facebook. And I think it's her mother who uploaded these photos. Okay, I actually used this presentation, this picture in one of my discussions in the previous week. So what she said there, my third quarter picture in mother tongue and English. I will post the video later. So as you can see, she's still in grade 2, but she appreciates her outputs. And then here, look at our students. It's the picture shared from their mother. Mommy Jo is happy to share how her eldest daughter assists her brother with his modules. Okay. Then here on online practice teaching, this was what I've mentioned a while ago. It was not easy to plan how practice teaching will be conducted in an online setting. So what we did is we had a 2-day webinar. We had our faculty as our resource speakers. And then we had the practice teachers observe classes, and then they meet with their supervising instructors. Their lesson plans are checked, and then it was successful that 2 weeks ago they had their first online teaching. And as I've said, they are pros because they are digital natives. So it was not hard for them. The only challenge is the internet connectivity. Okay, sometimes it's slow, so it hampers their teaching. So another for the faculty, for the teachers, I think who is not a webinarian nowadays? Just like me, I am living with the life of a webinarian now. Okay, why? Because there is a need to upskill our knowledge, our strategies as teachers. And then the reason why I was able to take the training in the University of the Philippines, Open University, was because there was this invitation. There was this invitation of who would be interested to be taking courses offered by that university. And then I was attracted because for me, it was really difficult to teach at different levels with minimal exposure, with minimal background of the knowledge. So we had, I think 5 faculty undertook that 2-month training. Okay, so welcome to the life of the webinarians. Teachers, I think everyone, not only teachers, other sectors in the community also are working to upskill their strategies, methodologies in their respective fields. And then research. We foster research in the Center for Teaching and Learning. We actually presented proposals, but it's good to note that these proposals actually address the distance learning from the perceptions of the parents, from the teachers, practice teachers, and learners. Okay, and then we have extension services. Our university have extension services. And for the basic education, I mean for the professional education faculty and bachelor and early childhood education faculty, we had the so-called Ginikanan Ikaw ang Panigingnan. Okay, these extension services actually offer lectures for parents on their role in remote learning, parents and guardians as para teachers. We even have topics on financial management during pandemic. We have oracy topics. We even have raising spiritual children. That's for 2020. For 2021, these were the recent extension services we had. We had a topic on managing distance learning, a guide for parents and guardians. Then blended learning. We also had accelerating literacy through multilingual education, understanding performance-based assessments for parents, and many others. And these are in collaboration with the province of Agusan del Sur through their PTV and their radio channels, and also broadcast in Facebook Live in social media. So to end my slide or my presentation for today, although later I would be happy to entertain questions, this is the greatest reflection I have for this school year. Things may never go back to normal, but you may need to create a new normal, and that's okay. That's okay because in the long run, that new normal will become a better normal. So there was a need to reset, and now there's the time for us to reflect and aim for better and more effective methods and strategies in teaching. And that makes it a flexible teaching and learning experience. I am now open for your questions.
Lyzyl, thank
All
you
right.
so much. Wow, so many good ideas.
Welcome. You're welcome.
We have a small audience, but we also have, we're on Facebook Live, and we have Celine and Edwina and Miami and Michelle. Please, if any of you wishes to ask a question, you can unmute yourself. We're a small group, and I would love to hear your question.
Okay.
Linda.
Hey, yes, thank you so much. That was really an interesting presentation. I was wondering, to go back to one of your earlier slides, when you talked about motivating students to work online. I wonder if you could expand a little bit more about what you do to motivate your students for taking classes online.
Okay. Of course, for our basic education learners, they didn't have a choice. I mean, they have a choice because the synchronous classes were actually not compulsory because not everyone has a stable connectivity. But the pupils, the learners themselves are always excited whenever it's synchronous classes day because they got to meet their teachers as well as their classmates who they have not seen for for quite a long time. So it's like their meet and greet and reunion time. So students are actually motivated with that fact. Another, for the college students, well, they didn't have a choice because that is the learning delivery of the university. And of course, although it's not really compulsory, it's really different if they have listened or if they have heard the discussion or clarification from their teacher. And for the graduate studies, of course, attendance is a must. So even if they didn't have a better connectivity, it's a must for them to be present for the whole day duration of their classes. So I think that's how they become motivated. Sometimes they have a choice and sometimes they don't actually have a choice. So that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Linda. Some more questions?
So if nobody minds, I have another question.
Yes, Ma'am Linda.
I'm sorry. I'm going to ask lots of questions. I'm really interested to hear about the different types of development that you had to do with your trainee teachers compared to the other types of professional development that was being offered to teachers who were already in the classroom. Was that different? Was it, you said you did a 2-day workshop with your trainee teachers?
Okay. So for, yes, training teachers or the practice teachers.
Yeah.
Yes, it's different because I think the trainee teachers are more adept to with technology. They are familiar with technology. So when you tell them to make videos, they could make it right away. They could edit their videos. I myself don't know how to edit videos at 35 years old compared to the practice teachers now who are 20, 21, 22 years old. It's like, it's not a problem for them. And then they have better, I'm so sorry for my colleagues, but the practice teachers have better instructional materials. Okay, they have better animation, they have better PowerPoint presentation. It's just that it's not easy to, I mean, it's not difficult to train them actually in online learning. It's just the indoctrination of the curriculum that school heads or school leaders like me should do. Okay, it's only the first time, which is a bit difficult. But as they already adapted with the curriculum, and they had their first teaching, and you could see how effective they are and how resourceful they are. They just need to be guided, particularly in making lesson plans, particularly in giving feedbacks to their learners. But I salute them for their creativity when it comes to instructional materials and resources. They could really make nice resources and use them, particularly applications. And the children in the Center for Teaching and Learning are really having fun. They're excited for the next teacher because they know that that practice teacher would have more interactive activities, would have more interesting presentations. Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, and a follow-up, what about the teachers who were outside of that context? So teachers who are already in the classroom, what kind of support was given to them to make this transition?
Oh, of course, at the beginning of the school year, we had so many trainings and so many webinars. That's why I incorporated in my presentation a while ago, the life of a webinarian. The university was very generous, and even not only PNU, but also the Department of Education and the Commission on Higher Education here in the Philippines. They relentlessly gave trainings to the faculty. It's like every day. Before, it was like every day there is a webinar, there is a training. But I think as the school year is about to end, these trainings have come also to an end. Okay. Yeah, so somehow the trainings, the webinars helped the faculty to adjust in the new normal in education. Okay? They are able to have new strategies and methodologies to apply in distance learning. Yes, that's it.
Do you have a language teaching association for English teachers in Philippines?
Yeah, we have. Actually, we are members of different organizations because it's part of the requirement of the university. We could have at least one membership. We have the Linguistic Society of the Philippines. Is based in the La Salle, Manila, and many others. We also have reading associations. Yes, we have. And then our school is promoting multicultural education. So we also have an organization for that, Philippine Association of Multicultural Education Stakeholders. Okay, that's the flagship of our university.
Well, there are at least two large international associations, TESOL, Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, which is English Language Teachers Association. And there's another one called ITEFL, which is in the UK, but also is an international association of teachers of English foreign language. And I wonder, I know that in the past, the Philippines had TESOL, but maybe you don't talk about it, so maybe no more. I don't know.
It's there. It's still there. Actually, in 2018, TESOL Asia organized a conference in Pampanga, and I also participated with my colleague, Professor Payapaya. They are still very active, and actually very active in research also. That's it. It's just that not many of the faculty from our institution are members of TESOL Asia. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's still there.
Hi, Edwina, you have a question?
Not really question. I just want to share something in line with the topic that was discussed.
Yes.
But first and foremost, this really, really short. I just would like to thank Dr. Lyzyl for a very insightful, enriching, and inspiring discussion. it's so inspiring to hear the situation happening in Mindanao, because I'm from Manila. So I'm from the northern part of the Philippines, and I could
Mhm.
see the differences. Like I'm um in our university, actually, even before pandemic, our university already offered trainings, so that if in case our university will really go full online, at least all teachers would be prepared in line with Miss Lynn's question, like what are the different trainings given to our teachers. So in our university, we have assist. It's a department that really helps all the teachers regardless of the age, because just like what Miss Lissel's Dr. Lissel said, that yes, sometimes the younger generation, which we somehow termed as digital natives, they're more equipped, and the older generation are considered to be digital immigrants, so they're having difficult time. Henceforth, in our university, in order to address this, they even would give one-on-one lecture and training to really help those professors who are not well equipped with technology. And a lot of adjustments were already done by our university, and I could see the difference because Miss Dr. Lessel is under Department of Education, so they really have to follow what is being given by DepEd, whereas our university is under CHED, so we can be a little flexible to immediately change or create some alterations in order to give what is helpful and to the teachers, and what could be more motivating to our students. And probably Dr. Lessel, you can also consider, because our university is already observing academic week breaks for our students, because being in front of the computer could really be exhausting, not
Yeah.
only for the students but at the same time the teachers. That's why our university addressing the demands of the parents, students, and teachers alike. They decided to come up with academic week breaks, wherein teachers and students won't really be facing answering any inquiries or doing activities in front of the computer, so that they could really breathe and take that break that they needed away from the gadgets.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. I would like to clarify three things in response to that. Number one, we are a state university, so of course we are operated by the Commission on Higher Education. I was just discussing a while ago about the Center for Teaching and Learning, which offers a basic education, since it is a laboratory school for our practice teachers. Since we're a laboratory school, we could also have our own curriculum, and we designed our special curriculum for this school year. Another thing is, yeah, we also had our flexible teaching and learning even before the pandemic. It's just that not all the faculty, particularly those from the Center for Teaching and Learning, were actually exposed to this for this program, rather. So it became a problem at the onset of the implementation of the blended learning. Okay, and then since the flexible teaching and learning program was still on its budding stage in the university, so not all the faculty were also given the training. Only those who had subjects related to the outcomes-based teacher education curriculum. And then third, yes, we also have wellness breaks actually. Actually, next week is a wellness break for our college students and for our elementary learners. Yes, wellness break could also refresh, right? Refresh the students and the teachers as well, even if it means that teachers still have to work, at least they don't give task to their learners. And actually, it's the learners, it's the students who relax at this time. So in the university, we have 1 week wellness activities every term. Yeah.
Great idea.
And thank
Happy
you
to
for
hear
that.
that, Doc Lyzyl. Thank you.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah.
Mm.
We have to take care of our minds and our bodies and our souls.
Mhm.
Yeah. The teachers
Yes.
are so exhausted now at the end of the semester. And you just feel it in their voices, in their body language. It's just very, very difficult to live through and to work and to be so committed to your job. Your ideas today gave us, Dr. Lyzyl, your ideas gave us so many new ways of looking at things in a more optimistic way. I love the slide that you had that crossed out the word new and put better.
Yes.
It's a wonderful perspective to share. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you also very much for having me. I'm very honored to be here with you and to share this topic with you, Ma'am Linda, Ma'am Lisbeth, and Ma'am Lynn, and to everyone who are here in this small gathering. But I know this is live on Facebook, and my friends are excited to watch this presentation. I will just share the link with them later.
Wonderful.
Okay.
I think we're going to close now. Thank you so much, Dr. Lyzyl. Really a pleasure to have our first speaker from Philippines. Hooray. Thank you. Thank you. And
Yeah,
thank
you're welcome.
our
Anytime.
small but lovely audience. Please join us next time on the 20th of May for a very different topic where we're looking at kind of a workplace approach of looking at different levels in the employment context, where you have the higher level people, the middle level, and the lower level. And these are some wonderful colleagues who have a program in Texas, but the teachers that are involved and that will be presenting are from North Africa and the Middle East. So you'll have a very different point of view to learn from our colleagues halfway around the world. Thank you all for coming today. I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you to Lynn and to Linda for being with us, and to all of our participants. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you po.
Thank you.